Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Anyreach Roundtable, where we explore how AI is transforming the way we work. I'm your host, Richard Lin, CEO of Anyreach, and today's guest is Emmanuel at Simpana. Emmanuel, it's great to have you here.
Nice to be here too.
Awesome. Well, so just for our audience, can you maybe share a little bit about your background experience just so they can get to know you better?
Yeah, so my name's Emanuel. I'm the CEO of Sympana. I started this company around 3 years ago. First started in the marketing space, scaled the company to around 25 real estate clients in marketing. And then basically from there, I basically kept on growing it, then kind of hated the marketing space. I was good at it. It's just I didn't like the type of clientele I had.
Mm,
So then I just switched everything over to AI voice agents. First started out with a company called Air AI. They're not really around anymore, I don't think. And then kind of found out about Vappy and then retail. And then from there, kept on building out my partnerships with both Vappy and retail, and have been helping out their clients basically build out AI automations to call their leads, book them into appointments, and do all of that.
awesome, awesome. Well, one of the things that's really inspiring about kind of your story and journey is that you're pretty young, right?
Yeah.
And I think the last time we spoke, you think you started your like first business when you're like 14 or 16.
Yeah.
And maybe talk about, how you kind of got into entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So, I got into entrepreneurship because of my family. My whole family around me, my aunts, my uncles, all of that, they're all in business. My parents are immigrants. First started their own business too. So just being surrounded by business really just pushed me to start my own business. I never really wanted to go down the path of working for someone because, of course, I've worked with my parents and their businesses a lot. I just didn't like being told, like, it sounds like bratty, but I didn't like being told what to do.
Mm,
I like being in control and building what I think is best, not what another person thinks is best. So basically that pushed me to start my own business and just try out so many stuff. Like you said, I started out at 14 just building different stuff out. Started my own coding agency. That didn't really work out, and then that's when I got into marketing around, I would say 15 or 16, and then from there, I went back basically to development, but with a new type of development, which is AI, and what people really need is AI in their business, and that's basically how I pivoted back into development, but implementing the AI aspect.
got it, got it. Well, it's interesting. A lot of entrepreneurs have kind of that rebel mentality. Some folks start a little bit later in life, but it's pretty, amazing to kind of hear your story of, kind of taking the reins and just experimenting, trying things. The biggest, I think, hurdle for anybody jumping into entrepreneurship is just taking the first step, right? Just go build something, even if it fails. You'll start getting kind of the addiction, if you will,
Yeah.
of building more and more. So, you kind of mentioned about marketing and how you're focused on applying AI into that. Can you maybe talk a little bit more specific about, uh, what the client base looks like? What is the use case? Any specifics, kind of new things that you're kind of discovering as you're building out these solutions?
Yeah, definitely. So because of my marketing background, I can see so many stuff that many people don't see, different types of automations I can build out that people don't see. Like I can build out a metapixel connection to a AI voice agent. So whenever a lead converts via a phone call, that updates the metapixel. So that just updates everything in Facebook. So that
Mm,
basically your ads target better people and keep on getting better results. That marketing background that I've had previously just really helped me know what to build and what to offer to clients. And that honestly, right now, is how I'm able to work with three different types of marketing companies that have over 200 clients each. And those three companies are placing over 200,000 calls every single day to leads. And that's a really big number. So you have to know how you really have to know Facebook, you really have to know all these marketing platforms, and then the second knowledge is knowing the automation platforms, which they hire me for, but still I have to know those marketing platforms, and me having the background before that really helped me being able to basically build out these automations for marketing companies. But yeah, so my main clientele is marketing companies, and then I work with a bunch of other companies in the medical space, finance space, and a couple other really weird niches like job hunting and stuff like that.
So you mentioned a really interesting kind of flow where, the voice agent calls, a handful of leads, and that data gets fed back into Meta's pixels into targeting. Would you say that these voice agents are calling after, a lead has gone through a Facebook ad and filled in the information, or are even working a little bit more top of funnel where the ad itself goes to the agent? Like, how do you kind of
Yeah,
think?
so yeah, definitely. So it really depends. Sometimes it's the AI agent is at the top of the funnel.
Mm,
Sometimes the AI agent is after they fill out the form. It
mm,
really depends on what the client wants and what we've seen results get them. Because everything at Simpana is results driven. It might work for one client like this, but for
mm,
another client, it might work completely differently, even though they're in the same industry, which is really weird. It might just work differently. So we do everything results driven for every single client. If it doesn't work for this client, we might even still try it out for another client because maybe it works for that client. So
mm.
everything switches per client. Um, and yeah, that's basically what we see is the biggest difference. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, we do some like lead gen marketing activity with voice agents as well. And one of the things that we found pretty funny in terms of the call recordings, like we have a school client that we do kind of paid media with the voice agent, and you get some of the weirdest calls where like, there's like an old person calling in yelling at the bot about like a completely unrelated topic that's not even related to a school. um, and it's always funny listening to that. I don't know if you've seen that meme where in The Simpsons, like the grandpa yelling at clouds. We see some of those in the call recordings. Have you ever seen any, interesting kind of calls where you're like, what happened here? And, can you kind of describe, just for kind of a fun topic for our audience, what you've seen?
Yeah, it really depends. But sometimes I just the funniest types of calls are when like people are just trying to waste the AI's time because they notice it's an
Mm,
AI. So then they just start cussing with it and try breaking the AI to say really weird stuff. It's happened once or twice because of course we're placing so many calls. It happens once a day at least, where someone figures it out, and I start laughing at what they're trying to make the AI say. But yeah, I can't say what they try saying, but it's a lot
sure,
of
yeah.
slurs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's funny how much folks try to jailbreak AI once they find
Yeah.
out sometimes. But as you kind of think about Simpana's focus, one of the things you guys mentioned is the ability to help businesses cut out the manual work, right? From calling leads to managing kind of communications and so forth. Can you give the audience a little peek into how you're making this possible with the systems that you're currently using or planning to build?
Yeah, so do you mind going in a bit more on what you mean by that?
Yeah, sure. So, what kind of tools are you using right now for which use case? And then are there other tools you're exploring to, kind of focus in on that, automating manual work?
Yeah, so we help a lot of clients mostly with CRMs like Go High Level, and basically we mostly try automating their CRMs. Most popular one is Go High Level because
Mm,
we're working with marketing companies. But the second and third is Salesforce and HubSpot. That's what we also help implement with. And basically, we connect to their pipelines directly. So they're able to have their all their whole automations in the back end. So we're just able to come in and basically add stuff to their pipelines. So just add a call section to their pipeline and add stuff like that. So we're just working in conjunction with their whole entire working CRM. So then from there,
mm.
we basically connect to that, and then we place the calls based on that, and then basically work in conjunction. So if a message is to be sent after the call, a message gets sent. If a email is to be sent after the call, an email gets sent and stuff like that.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things we're seeing as well for enterprise deals, whether it's sales or customer service. Just like so many integrations, right?
Yeah.
They have existing platforms, and most of the time they're not going to adopt the tools you build, right? Because they've already spent all this time doing research on, the right CRM and so on and so forth. They probably already locked into like a 3-year contract. So you got to play nice with, some of these other platforms and providers. In some of your implementation work, what are some of the challenging tools to have to work with? I mean, you mentioned some of the common CRMs, which honestly I think they're super archaic. Like when I go into HubSpot, I'm like, why does it take 20 clicks
Yeah.
to do this one action? Are there any other kind of integrations that you've seen that have been kind of a pain in the ass, if you will, of trying to work well with them?
Yeah, well, I would say there's a bunch. I don't even know where to get started. But mo mostly, I would say Go High Level has done a pretty good job
Mm,
on basically integrations, and basically with their API system, it's been getting better and better.
mm,
Now I do have some complaints on why they had to switch from their V1 API to their V2. That screwed everything up.
mm,
But that was basically the most like odd update they've ever done. They
mm.
could have made their platform more secure another way. But anyways, the other platforms like HubSpot and Salesforce, they're pretty old, so they have a lot of APIs, but
Yep.
a lot of their APIs sometimes don't work the way you want it to, and you
Mm,
have to figure out a way to fix that so it works better. So it's a lot of workarounds. If they don't have this type of API, you have to use another API to
mm.
basically go around what they've blocked.
Got it. Got it. And one of the things you mentioned is, the voice agent doing the calls, but for your deployments, are these agents actually also doing function calls, doing kind of actions? And if so, what does that look like?
Yeah, yeah. So we're mostly helping people book appointments.
Mm,
So we're booking appointments directly onto a Go High Level calendar, onto a HubSpot calendar, which in turn usually becomes a Google Calendar, Salesforce calendar, and all of that. So we mostly book calls onto calendars, and then we also send SMS messages from the call, and then emails during the call, and all of that. And then another thing that we're starting to get into is collecting payment over the phone. So we're basically collecting the client's credit card over the phone, being PCI compliant and all of that. And
mm,
then during that, we collect the payment and then process it. And then if it doesn't work, then we send a payment link to the client to fill out,
mm.
or they can say the card number again and say their name again, and then we'll process their payment.
Got it. Got it. And lead qualification is a really interesting use case because a lot of times you're trying to capture some of that sensitive information, like you mentioned about, payment, credit cards, and so forth. Even one of the common use cases is like capturing email, which I think no one's done like a super amazing job capturing like
Yeah.
100% of the time. I don't know if you've seen that and if you figure out a way to like, make it work better.
Yeah, so what I figured out with email is never just have the person say their email out loud. Just make sure that they spell their email. They have to spell their email for it to actually capture the email. So that's basically what I've seen work best, is asking the user to spell out their email letter by letter and number by number for it to actually work.
So yeah, one of the things, we've noticed for, lead generation is, capturing obviously personal information, more sensitive information like payments and credit cards is obviously a kind of a key need. But even for like basic things like capturing an email, still runs into a host of problems for transcription and so forth. What have you seen work around that, and how do you get it, closer to accuracy when you do that specific case?
Yeah, so for me, the best workaround that I found is just having the user spell out their email,
Mm,
letter by letter and then number by number.
mm,
Because if they just say their email, the AI is not going to ever spell it correctly.
right.
Even if it's something simple like my name, Emmanuel, there's two ways to spell my name.
Yep.
Emmanuel with one M or Emmanuel with two M's, and the AI is going to go with the most popular way to spell it, which is going to be with two M's,
Mm,
and the AI just messed up the whole entire email that it captured. So what I've seen work best, and it works at a 90% rate, is having the user spell out the email,
mm,
and then from there, sending the call recording to the client. So if the email doesn't work, they're always able to go back and listen to the call recording and see and listen for that email too.
mm.
So if it doesn't work, they're able to basically go in and listen to that and then send another email.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely my personal email. is like super problematic even without AI. Like every time I call customer service, it's like I2ICHARDLIN, so Richard Lin at gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
But the R is actually a number I and a number two. So if you type it out, it'll look like an R, right? But that is pretty complicated until I tell them, hey, it's actually Richard Lin without the R. And they're like, oh, that's so clever. But I don't think AI would actually be able to, manage that if I just said it's Richard Lin
Yeah,
at gmail.com, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And so, you're obviously making a lot of progress. Your team is pretty lean, right? And you're handling obviously a lot of clients and very kind of more complex use cases. How have you adopted different AI tooling, personally, or even for your team to, speed up operations?
Yeah, so we're using a bunch of different AIs to basically make my team of basically two people very, very efficient.
Mm,
We're mostly using Grok and ChatGPT for
mm,
most of our use cases on development side. We got me and my team have gotten really good at basically prompt engineering our AI with ChatGPT and Grok to the point where whenever we ask it a question, it knows how to respond.
mm,
So whenever we have a problem setting up a client's automation with HubSpot, Go High Level or something like that, it already knows how to respond to that question without me having to tell it, hey, we're using Go High Level. It already knows that we're using Go High Level even before I
mm.
ask it.
Got it. Got it. Super cool. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a really interesting thing from some of my interviews where, and I do this actually myself, to have multiple reasoning models running at the same time,
Yeah,
right? From O3 to, your Groks to, Claude and so on and so forth, and just like parallel a bunch of work,
yeah,
let it process, come back to different tabs. Oh, the job's done. Great. Now I have the output. Hopefully someday someone's going to come up with some sort of tool where it combines all reasoning models, right? You
yeah.
just type it in once and then just, let it spin, or you can run things in parallel. Um, and so you mentioned, some of these marketing agencies you're working with for, lead gen and so forth. How are you pricing AI? Because I think that's kind of a hot topic right now where it's kind of Wild West. Everyone's throwing all kinds of pricing, from usage, price per minute to SaaS, subscription models to outcome basis and so on and so forth. How are you thinking about it, and what's the market kind of telling you?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I'm usually charging around 2 to 4 grand for a full agency because the
Mm,
reason why I'm charging a bit much is because I'm also um helping brand new clients come in.
mm,
So whenever a new client comes in, they just tell me the account that they created for that client, and within a day, we have that account set up for that client. So it's a really quick turnaround for them. And that's why we can get away with charging a bit more than any other third agency because we work in conjunction with their marketing team too on getting new clients and doing all of that. So we work in conjunction with their marketing team and sales team. So whenever they get a new client, everything's set up for that client, scripting's done, and all of that's done for that client.
mm. Got it. So when you say 2 to 4K a month, you're talking about under an agency, if they have like 200 clients, each one of those clients is like 2 to 4K.
No, no, no,
So
no, no. So the whole entire agency is 4 grand.
got it. So how do you figure out compute costs? Because if they spin up all 200 of their
Yeah.
clients, there's tons of calls. Like, do you add on, usage on top of that?
So no, because I do everything. So they give me their credit cards. Not really, but they give me their credit cards.
I
And
see.
then they give it to me. And then we're just running all the
Charging
information through
the
their.
providers. Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Got it. Okay, super cool. Um, and as you kind of think about folks that you're working with, I kind of think the market for agentic is kind of two areas. There's folks that want to buy agentic AI solutions. So for us, like call centers want to buy an AI voice agent so that they can reduce headcount, improve margins, right? On the flip side, you have folks that want to sell it, where whether you're a SaaS company that feels like, oh, I'm going to become irrelevant in the next 3 years, I need to have some sort of AI, positioning in my core product. Let me, get this embedded into my tool so I can go to market with a new kind of offering. How are you seeing kind of, the buying and selling portions of the market? Agencies, obviously, you're also helping them sell. Anything else you're kind of seeing kind of in those two groups?
Not really anything with those two groups. I know agencies are also wanting to go into like more SaaS model, a more SaaS model. So of course they're gonna want to like white label the AI. So we're
Mm,
helping them white label their AI with multiple different types of platforms. One of the most popular one that everyone goes with is ChatDash. So we basically white label everything with ChatDash for retail AI and VAPI. So the clients just see one bill when it comes in from the client's company. But I'm seeing a bunch of new use cases pop up daily. I just had a meeting yesterday with this guy that was telling me in the Seattle area, one of the biggest law firms is starting to implement AI for their customer service and for qualifying leads and doing all of that. And then
mm,
they're building this so that they can replicate it into other law firms across the United States.
mm,
And this law firm's like one of the biggest in Washington State. So what I heard is they're developing this whole system so then they can sell it as a SaaS.
mm.
So it's really cool to see what other big companies are doing and what they're trying to target. So like that law firm, their use case is to sell it as a SaaS model to different law firms. But a lot of the companies just want to implement it in their company, and
Right.
that's it, because they just want to grow their company and don't want to grow another company.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we're definitely seeing that kind of shift in the market. There's obviously a majority just want to, buy a solution that's going to automate things, and then there's kind of the more ambitious folks that says, "Hey, I see this, gold rush opportunity. How can I build this into make my services business into more of a product business?" And we're definitely seeing this in like the BPO industry, where folks that will sell outsourcing call center agents from India to the Philippines to Mexico are saying, "Hey, we got to get this AI thing going, so we can stay ahead of the market." Um, you mentioned that some of the integrations you're using with voice, and then you trigger like emails, SMS. So it sounds like you kind of have like a multi-channel approach. How do you think about the topic for agentic AI around memory? Because depending on the touch points and interactions across these different channels, is that something you guys are actively exploring of like the AI is able to remember a specific user's name, what they last spoke about, carry that context forward?
Yeah. So we're definitely doing that right now for our marketing clients.
Mm,
So we have a section in like Go High Level where we basically add all the call notes to.
mm,
So we summarize the call, we do all of that, and we put it into Go High Level. And then we basically get the call notes every single call that comes in or goes out. So if we call a lead 5 times, we tell them, hey, we've been trying to get in contact with you for the last 5 days and stuff like that. So it looks like we've been trying to contact them, and then that usually leads to a higher conversion rate depending how you word it.
mm.
So we're already using memory, and it's actually pretty cheap to use it if you're hosting it on another place that is not your server, which is mostly going to be your CRM like Go High Level, HubSpot, or even Salesforce.
Mm, mm. So, when you think about the AI space, it's obviously getting pretty noisy. There's a lot of voice providers, a lot of different agentic AI solutions. Um, Considering that, obviously you're in the field building, what do you think the market's going to look like in the next 3 to 5 years, in terms of, where things are shifting?
Yeah, in the next 3 to 5 years, I don't really see voice implementers being a really big thing anymore. I think it's a big thing right now, and that's what the market's saying right now. It's a big thing. But in the next 3 to 5 years, I think voice implementers is gonna it's more going to become a job instead of an agency.
Mm,
Reason why I say that is because platforms are going to become easier and easier to allow smaller and smaller companies to implement with. So smaller companies are not gonna have to hire an agency to implement their calls, they're calling with, because if it's already working, they're not gonna have to go to someone to fix their problem if there's no problem to begin with.
got it, got it. Yeah, I mean, I think, when AGI gets here, we're probably all out of a job
Yeah.
at some point. But as you kind of think about all these kind of implementers, builders in the voice space, considering all the activity, what do you think everyone is getting wrong?
Yeah, I think everyone's starting just to target the wrong market.
Mm,
Everyone's going like after real estate agents and all of that because a lot of these people come from marketing. But I honestly think not going, not staying niched and going broad is the best type of like way to get more clients. So I'm targeting everyone. I run a YouTube channel. Everyone comes in through that. And my partnerships with retail and Vappy also get me a bunch of clients.
mm,
So basically going broad will enable you to generate more revenue for your business than staying niche down and being the
mm,
best at one niche. Because with AI, it's not like a marketing agency where you have to be good at one niche. You're able
mm,
to building an AI automation is basically niche. It's not you don't have to be niched to know what you're building. You
mm.
just have to be good at building the automation. So if you're good at building the automations and you're a really good developer, you don't have to be niched at all, and you're able to grow pretty quickly with multiple different types of clients in different spaces.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I saw an interview with I believe it was Mark Andreessen for Andreessen Horowitz, where he was saying that the future of AI and the folks that are going to succeed don't need to have as much domain expertise or depth, right? It's actually better to be more kind of a jack of all trades, more broad, knowing a lot about the world so that you can put together the patterns and then use AI strategically to kind of dive into the depth of a specific topic, right? Because these models are getting so powerful, they're like PhD level, you know,
Yeah.
insights and intelligence. So just knowing enough of the top layer, and then any questions or deep dives or rabbit holes that you have to go down, just ask AI, and AI will kind of tell you kind of the answer there. So you did mention a thing about kind of your go to market. You were talking about your voice partnerships. You were talking about other kind of channels. What have you seen work, YouTube and so on and so forth, that is driving kind of your lead acquisition?
Yeah, I think it's all my partnerships combined with my YouTube that really, really helps me establish these big companies that I'm signing on.
Mm,
Some of the companies I'm working with are two billion-dollar companies.
mm,
So if I didn't have a social media presence, they wouldn't have trusted me at all, I would say, because I've been posting on social media for the past year and a half, showing how I can build these stuff out. So
mm,
the only way I was really able to acquire these people is by showing my social media presence and what I'm able to do. Um, I'm not the best salesperson, and I know that. I can sell. I'm just not going to be better than someone that works for a billion-dollar company or a multi-million dollar company. For Anyreach, for example, I'm not going to be better than your guys' top salesperson, and I know that. And that's basically who I'm competing against. So basically, I always show what I've built for companies, and then I always show my YouTube and what I've built on my YouTube to be able to show that I can do what the other company is doing and better and cheaper and faster. So
mm,
that's basically what has enabled me to sign my clients and also um, get better clients. And then the other way I'm also acquiring clients is doing a good job for my current clients. And then
mm,
my current clients are also recommending me to other businesses. And those businesses are recommending me to other businesses. So that's starting to become a bigger thing for me and a bigger way I'm acquiring clients. But right now, the biggest place I'm acquiring clients is through my two partnerships with Retail and Vappy and my YouTube.
got it, got it. Well, it's interesting, kind of your approach there. It's always better to, work with partners than it is to go, solo.
Yeah.
And I think the AI market is so new that there's, when you think about the kind of adoption curve, right? We're still very much early adopter. There's still a lot of education involved of what it is, what are the benefits, how it's actually done. And so I think you took a great approach with kind of your YouTube channel with tutorials and kind of walkthroughs of how you implement things, because that builds credibility, right?
Yeah.
As well as education for interested prospects. And I also don't think we're competitors. I think we're partners, man. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
mentioned one thing, but different approaches. We work with more enterprises, and obviously you have some enterprises under your belt as well. But we can all coexist and be friendly and help each other out. So
Exactly.
there's all that. Awesome. Well, is there any kind of final takeaways that you want to maybe share with our audience of any learnings or kind of what's coming up next on your roadmap?
Yeah, definitely. So what I really recommend for basically the audience that is watching this is to really start looking into basically what we've been talking about, voice AI. A lot of people just look at it, test it out, don't like it, and then don't even test anything out with actual leads. I really recommend testing the AI with leads because even though it doesn't sound exactly like a human, it still will convert. So that's what I recommend for the whole audience to do is try out the AI with actual leads. And if you're going to hire an agency, um, I would really recommend looking into that agency and looking into what they're able to build, and not just them telling you that they're able to build it. And don't only look for the cheapest priced agency, look for an agency that's able to build something with quality because you're always able to hire someone from Fiverr to build the same thing, but
Mm,
it's not going to work in the long term like if we were to build it. We build everything to last a long time and to cost you ultimately less. That's why we use platforms like N8N and multiple different types of platforms to make your whole entire operations run at $40 or $50 a month for a systems charge, and then of course you're going to have to pay the retail charge. But it's super, if you build everything correctly, and you hire the correct agency to build everything correctly, um, the software expense is going to be very, very minimal. You're only just going to have to pay for the per minute cost from these platforms. And then as a roadmap from Simpana, we're currently building a Go High Level connection that's going to enable everyone to be able to one click connect everything like connect the calendar, connect a reschedule. So the AI will be able to reschedule people, cancel appointments, get leads time zones, know the leads time zone before we call them. Um, and have a bunch of spam, and we'll also have a bunch of spam protection tools built into the platform. So whenever you're placing these calls from Simpana Connector, that's what it's going to be called. You're going to be able to immediately just um, know that your calls are going to be spam protected and won't show up in spam. So your pickup rates will always be really, really high. And
mm.
we're going to be charging really, really cheap prices, around half a cent per trigger, which if you're only placing 1,000, 2,000 calls a day, that's not even going to cost you. It's not even going to cost you more than $10, which is really, really cheap compared to platforms like Make.com or Zapier.
Got it. Got it. Well, super cool. Thanks for sharing kind of the future roadmap of Sympana and kind of your closing remarks and insights. Emmanuel, we appreciate you being on Anyreach Roundtable. I'm sure our audience is really going to enjoy this episode. For folks that want to maybe find more about you, contact you, or learn about your business, where can they find you?
Yeah, you're able to look me up on YouTube at Emanuel Termure, or you're able to look up my company, Simpana, and you'll be able to find everything about my company, and what we do, and who we have helped in the past.
And for the audience, Sympana is Sympana, just for spelling
Yeah.
accuracy. Well, Emmanuel, appreciate you being on again, and thanks again for joining Anyreach Roundtable.
Thank you so much. Have a nice one.
Thanks.